program Valma, as this is our voice to the issues happening within the country, within us. And it is our responsibility to talk about them because they are also affecting us. So when injustice happens to your neighbor and you keep quiet, next time it will happen on you and no one will talk. So any injustices next to you, speak about it, do something about it. Here we come to speak about what we see happening around us. The good we praise and the bad find way. What do you think? So this is Onenashe Francis, your host on Alumwa Media with the program Rama as our voice. Now, especially the teacher, today we were on education, and exactly that's where I posed you and said we begin from there. There is another statement from UNEP. The examination board has, I think next month, this week on Friday, this briefing of Senior 4. And all schools were asked to produce their continuous assessments done for the 4 years by 30th October, of which reports from UNEP tells us 1,800 centers have not yet submitted this continuous assessment. The new curriculum that students keep on doing the continuous assessment, of which it is compiled and sent to UNEP. Now, exactly at that point, the 1,800 centers, those are centers, not students, those are centers. Now, imagine the school from West Nile. Imagine the school within Kampala, next to school, others will not have centers. But they have students who will sit within these very centers. And they say they have not yet submitted. This is according to the new curriculum. And exactly there, the chairperson of the private school owners, the directors of the private school, says that they did not do enough training of the teachers how to do with this, to deal with this, how to submit this. And he says the short period, they've just recently done it. I think they've not given it priority for the past 4 years or 3 years, training the people to be ready for this. Do you think this new curriculum is benefiting the student? I want you to see it in the angle. In the central here, it can happen, and because access to internet and animals. Now imagine my school where I studied in my village, where they even don't have a computer. Maybe the government have purchased one for them.
When there is no power.
Okay, that is another one, when there is no power. Do you think the government was ready for this new curriculum? Because this new curriculum seems to be demanding a lot. You need to have internet, smartphone almost to every home. And there are some homes there in my village where they have not seen a smartphone. They only see it from the neighbors.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Francis, and our viewers. I love this question, and I would simply say, number one, the government wasn't ready. Why? Because before you begin anything, you must have attained some good training. You must equip people with enough knowledge and skills that they will use to implement whatever you want them to do. There are a number of factors that really need to be worked on for the proper implementation of this curriculum. First of all, the curriculum is very, very okay. It calls for hands-on, and in fact the products who will come out of this very current curriculum will be much more productive than the products that the former or the previous curriculum had produced. There are a number of activities that are involved in the current curriculum. Like I said, everything that they do involves hands-on. I mean, they do not only depend on the theoretical things that teachers give in class, they go out and practically do those things. That's the beauty of the current curriculum. But the problem is, whatever the teachers or the administration of the different schools get engaged in must be filed or recorded properly and then sent back to UNEP. And that's where we find issues. Schools within town areas are able to do it because they have enough of what is required for that to be done easily.
Because there is something here. There is something here. They had given them a deadline, 30th October, of which UNEP also extended another 1 month to 30th November. Why? And imagine the senior fours that are starting their exam. I think that will be
usually a week after independence.
14th, 13th, because
14th.
It must be 14th.
Yes,
because this Friday will be briefing. You see? Now, their continuous assessment is not. Do you think they will give you accurate assessments?
Usually, you see, the accuracy depends on the honesty of the teachers and the administration. First of all, I am a teacher who is doing this thing with my students. We may not have even done anything, but I sit down and write the results and send. This one is also there. It has happened. Not once, not twice. We hear of things happening. And I tell you, most rural schools come up with results which may not be authentic to some extent. Because first of all, we talked of the number of teachers. Compare the teacher-student ratio and you see in those different secondary schools. This same teacher who is supposed to sit down and work on the assessment results to be forwarded to UNEP is the one who is supposed to walk into the classroom and then do the teaching, the planning, and you know teaching is so demanding. You have to sit down, come up with a scheme of work, then you get the lesson plan, you move around to collect the instructional materials, and then go to deliver your content, and all these processes are time consuming. Because you are not going to tell me that I make a lesson plan, I come up with a scheme of work, I look for instructional materials, I go to deliver my content to 200 students, and I alone have to sit down because I'm a specialist in my own subject. Then observe whatever all the 200 students are doing, and you expect me to hand in my results within that specified period of time when we have even no power. Maybe I'm also to some extent not so knowledgeable with things to do with use of computer and so forth and so on. It becomes hard. I may get all my data properly, then I look for someone who knows computer better to do it for me. And because I am not doing it myself, that other person might also be loaded with other things. That brings delay. And UNEP, I think, to some extent, have also not done what they were supposed to do properly. Why wait until this time and then begin putting pressure? So that means the supervisory system is also not moving on well. They are not monitoring the teachers and the processes of teaching very well. Because if the monitoring and the supervision and the other things were done at the time expected, we wouldn't, or UNEP would not be asking for the results at this time.
Okay. Now, there is one thing I wanted us to ask. You see, almost everything is affected by school. Do you see that at least school should be the first priority? Then other ministries will come. And at this point, I want to go to Honorable. Then, because this is school and others, that in our area, leaving this topic,